WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
The longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow, you know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore. There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon flying solo, as found out about a little over a half hour ago. Lucas, a little under the weather. I guess he's reeling from the beating suffered at the hands of Paid in Full's Royal Money from the Factory Friday event last night. So giving him a chance to convalesce a little bit, and I'll be taking care of things solo here. TCB taking care of business, as the King Elvis Presley has said on many an occasion there. Oh, where to start? Lots of things to get into here today. Oh, my goodness. Well, the Fastlane results, we'll talk about that coming up. Some changes as well in terms of, actually, we'll get right into it here since it happened based off of something we talked about last week. The contract negotiations going south between the Hardys and TNA Impact Wrestling. Well, last Saturday night, later that night after we talked about it here, Matt and Jeff Hardy made an unadvertised appearance at the Ring of Honor event in New York City, defeating not only making an appearance, but they defeated the Young Bucks to capture the ROH Tag Team titles. And they reportedly stated at the event that they had signed deals with Ring of Honor and are scheduled to face the Young Bucks in a rematch in 3 weeks on April 1st in Lakeland, Florida. And well, of course, part of that coming from the 15th anniversary pay-per-view that occurred last night for Ring of Honor, where you saw the Hardys and the Young Bucks, as well as RPG Vice, Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta, face off in a triple-threat Las Vegas street fight, and the Hardys retained to hold on to those ROH Tag Team titles, as well as go on to WrestleMania weekend, and that should be an interesting matchup down there in the Orlando area. Now, in that same event, Bubba Ray Dudley made a surprise appearance, or Bully Ray. He said he was considering offers over the course of this past week, and fans chanting some not-so-nice things toward TNA, and Bubba responding, "That's why I didn't take their offer." Good job on him. At least in terms of a response. Bubba saying that ROH reminds him of a promotion that is special to him and the fans, and that led to ECW chants. And he noted that if he came to Ring of Honor, it wouldn't be because he wanted to be a tag champion or a world champion or to be one of those veterans who steals from the company. He said, quote, "If I come to Ring of Honor, it's because I genuinely want to. When I retire, I want to be able to say that I fought in Ring of Honor." So things changing around quite a bit here, and getting back to the Hardys, we'll talk a little bit later about Mrs. Matt Hardy, good old Rebby, having quite a few things to say on Twitter, and it's it's certainly something, to say the least. We'll get into that, as well as somebody else who had quite a lot to say on Talking Smack, The Miz, this past Tuesday. We'll get into that as well. And man, that should be very interesting, as well as some of the things that he brought up during the Talking Smack program. Also, another addition to the Hall of Fame. We'll get into that. Also, some rumors about Impact Wrestling negotiating with a new TV network. We'll tell you who that is and who had something to say about the rumors. And also somebody else who was rumored to have been spoken to about coming back to TNA. So a lot to get into, plus, I kind of like to get the not-so-good news out of the way just because I hate talking about wrestler passings and whatnot. But longtime professional wrestler Ron Bass, real name Ronald Hurd, died this past Tuesday at the age of 68. PW Insider reporting that Bass was hospitalized recently for a burst appendix and missed a scheduled convention appearance in New York over last weekend. Bass worked for different territories, including Jim Crockett Promotions and Florida Championship Wrestling. Was probably better known for his time in WWE from 1987 and was there until early 1989. Most notably feuding with Brutus the Barber Beefcake, eliminating Beefcake from a potential Intercontinental title match at the first ever SummerSlam after leading up to the event gouging the Beefer's head open with those boot spurs. You remember them, Bret and Bart, the whole Outlaw Ron Bass character. Bass was also part of the class action lawsuit filed against WWE alleging that wrestlers incurred traumatic brain injuries during their tenure and that the company concealed the risks of injury. So a lot to get into, and we've already got the phones running wild here, like that some kind of mania with that yellow and red and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get right to it. We'll go ahead and start things off with Ed from Northeast Philly. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Good afternoon. Wrestle Pro in Rahway this evening with a 6 p.m. bell time.
Yes, Wrestle Pro. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been up there. It's been a while since I've been a lot of places.
Brother Love,
here.
Bruce Pritchard, the Hit Squad, Homicide, and Fall Out Bar. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. One half of the, I guess technically 1/3 of the tag team champions in the MFPW, the Money and the Miles, Falaba along with Mario Bocora. They're actually going to be next week. They'll be back at the MFPW arena, fresh off of their. They went down to Florida last week, and we're at the TNA Impact tapings.
Keystone Championship Wrestling tonight, also in Darby Rec Center in Darby, Pennsylvania. B.A. Billy Gunn, Too Cold Scorpio, Black Jesus.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so they've got a heck of a lineup going on.
Black Cheese, I meant to say. Black Cheese, I meant to say.
I knew where you were going with that.
Yeah.
I just skipped on along with it. That's fine.
Be politically correct.
Oh, of course. So I mean, to be fair, it is professional wrestling, so there's got to be at least a little bit of political incorrectness. We'll just we'll leave it at that.
WWE tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, MSG.
Back at the Garden.
Yeah, that looked like a good show. I don't have the lineup in front of me, though.
Well, the house shows in WWE are always entertaining. They're a little different than your television shows because I guess you can kind of go at least a little bit off the script. You can do a little. You're not necessarily confined to time constraints. I guess for another way of putting it.
Monster Mania has Lita and some other people.
Yeah, that's right.
Four Horsemen. I gave you my own writing.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. That's why I try to type up some of the stuff as well here. But that is that's in Cherry Hill this weekend. It started yesterday and is going through tomorrow. And
Enzo has in Voorhees next weekend.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. I'm looking at this now because I'll admit that Monster Mania is not something that I've necessarily looked at here, but I see that Wilford Brimley is going to be there for his first ever con or convention or anything like that. So that alone should be very interesting, to say the least. It's a part of a reunion of The Thing to kind of go more into the horror realm of things. But Amy Duma, better known as Lita, she's set to be there. Ralph Macchio from the Karate Kid's going to be there. Oh, wow. And a Four Horsemen reunion as Barry Windham, J.J. Dillon, Ric Flair, and Tully Blanchard all set to be there.
Adventureland has Enzo and Cass, I mentioned, in Voorhees.
Ah, yes, okay. That should certainly be a lot of fun as well.
And I'll save this for last. Oil H comes to the arena on the 22nd of April, and in Jersey at the Sportsplex the night before, April 21st.
Oh, that should be a very fun card. I mean, well,
The Hardys and Boy Ray and Dreamer for the Philadelphia show.
And wait, you said that was in April? Because I thought April was going to be
22nd.
did you say ROH or HOH?
Oh, HOH.
Okay, you said Ring of Honor, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. I know that they're supposed to be in Philly in May 14th. Ring of Honor is, but yeah, no. Usually the House of Hardcore goes right in sync with the Collector Fest that goes on.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got
That's
that
about it.
straightened out there. There we go.
That's about it.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Ed from Northeast Philly. Look at the local scene, always appreciated here. And we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of an early time out here, and then on the other side we'll get to Dan calling in from Chicago, the old Windy City there, and we'll get into some more fun stuff here as the hour goes along. And man, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to say the least. Definitely going to be a lot of fun. Definitely want to stick and stay with that. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Here's another What's It Worth Antique Minute. Brown is down is a phrase being repeated quite frequently in the auction and home downsizing world. But what exactly does it mean? Brown is down is a phrase many auctioneers use when discussing brown furniture. Whether cherry, mahogany, walnut, or oak, whether Empire, Victorian, Depression, or Pennsylvania House, the price on most brown furniture is down today and not bringing nearly what it did 5, 10, 20 years ago. Why? The younger generation simply doesn't like it the way their parents and grandparents did. And as more seniors are liquidating their brown furniture, there are fewer buyers for it. And as a result, prices have been plummeting with no end in sight. What's it worth? For example, a cherry Pennsylvania House dining room set with table, 8 chairs, hutch, and buffet in perfect condition recently sold for $325 at a very reputable local auction house. After the auction commission and delivery fee, the family netted around $200. Auctioneer, appraiser, and home downsizing expert Mike Ivankovich hosts What's It Worth? Ask Mike the Appraiser radio show. And you can tune in on Friday mornings from 9 to 10 on WBCB 1490 or on the internet at WBCB1490.com.
With so many things that you need to do and want to experience, saving money has never been more important. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is helping families like yours make the most of what they have. We provide financial tools and resources, calculators and expert advice, and access to discounts. Just a few of the ways AARP Pennsylvania helps you and your family save real money, because saving money never gets old. AARP Pennsylvania, real possibilities. Go to aarp.org/PA to start saving today. Real Possibilities is a trademark of AARP.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
See, it's got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so we might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. I'm going to break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. In my haste to move things along here, because that's what I tend to do, apparently. I don't know. Forgot to tell you about our friends over at George's Cards and Collectibles. How could I forget that? I don't know. It's probably because I haven't taken my medicine. But they are bringing you more wrestler signings, including just announced a couple of days ago, coming up on Saturday, April 22nd from 3 until 5 p.m., former WWE Divas champion Jillian Hall. That's right, and then 2 more appearances coming up in May. First, former 3-time WWE Tag Team Champions Demolition. That's right, Axe and Smash will be at George's and Chamonix Mall location on Saturday, May 6th from 3 until 5 p.m. And then 1 week later, what does everybody want? Yeah, you guessed it. Former WWE and ECW star Al Snow will be appearing at the Chamonix Mall George's location on Saturday, May 13th from 2:30 until 4:30 p.m. And you would think that his... accomplice will join him as well. You can leave your own entendres out of that there. George's has 3 locations for all of your cards and collectibles needs, including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown, in the Willow Grove Park Mall on the 2nd level near Macy's in Tivana, and in the Neshaminy Mall in the movie theater wing. For more information, go to georgescollectibles.com and follow George's Cards and Collectibles on Facebook. So some fun stuff there, although someone who I have a hunch won't be making their way out to here to see any of the folks here at George's Cards and Collectibles, at least not any time in the near future, would be one Dan from Chicago. Dan, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
How you doing, Fernando? Hey, you never know
where you might end up or pop up. True, stranger things have happened. What's going on?
Oh, not much. A couple of things. I got a few things on my mind. I got to tell you, I love that Talking Smack. You know, you were talking about it, in the beginning of the show. And my only gripe about it is I wish that they would have it right after SmackDown instead of having 205 right after SmackDown. And like they used to have it, then they switch it and it kind of breaks that momentum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you don't have that immediate aftermath. It's almost like the difference between, to use, I guess, a pro sports analogy, like a baseball or football, is the press gathering around a player right after the game in the locker room versus a post-game press conference where there's that little bit of time in between to kind of gather your thoughts as opposed to getting that, no pun intended, raw emotion and raw reaction.
Right. Because it's not even live after the fact, because they're filming it probably during 205. You could kind of tell. You know what I mean? Because, well, for one, they don't have the live thing on the side of the TV when they come back. But I mean, that's just my only gripe. That I just wish it was right after. I kind of get it in a way because they probably want to just take off right after the main event anyway. They don't want to spend all night at the arena doing talking smack, so they probably do it during, or I don't even know if they do it during SmackDown now.
Well, I mean, the other issue that you run into is, let's say they do Talking Smack first and then do 205 Live. What is the in-crowd, what's the in-arena crowd doing while the Talking Smack stuff is going on?
Yeah, I get it. I get your point there, but it looks like we might be getting a return to Daniel Bryan in some capacity at Bryan Danielson in a year and a half.
Maybe. I was going to say on the, coming up in a little bit, I was going to play because it was so good, and there were so many juicy nuggets in there that I actually have. It's probably about 8 minutes worth of everything with the Miz and Maurice being brought in and having the discussion with Renee Young and Daniel Bryan. And you're right, there were a lot of things that were noted in there, including a little hint that Daniel Bryan had dropped about possibly how long his contract remains with WWE, and that came from the Miz questioning the validity of whether Daniel Bryan can wrestle or whether he wants to, or what the scoop may be.
He looked so it looked real, almost to the point where he's like, they don't want me to. He didn't use Vince's name or WWE. They don't want me to wrestle. They don't want me to do this, because they're afraid I'm going to get hurt. And it was just great how he uses they instead of, saying name by name. You know what I mean? Who doesn't want me to wrestle?
Maybe it's one of those things where the they in this case could be the WWE doctors. It could be something where even WWE higher level executives like a Triple H or a Vince McMahon want him to come back, but the doctors are the ones who are saying no. That certainly could be the case. So why is he going to, well, first of all, why is he going to rip his own boss in that regard? That's why he kind of gives the generic they, and it's kind of one of those wink and nod to the crowds of, all right, you've got a pretty good idea of which they it is without me mentioning names and getting myself into further trouble.
Exactly. And I don't understand certain things on different shows on the network. Why are they so stressed on time? They own the network. 10:15, boom. Talking Smack goes off the air. They have to be on to the next show, and it's story time. And story time's over. You can't even get into story time too well because that's only a 10-minute show. Why can't these shows drag out longer? Because they own the network anyway. I don't understand this.
Well, I think for the purposes of consistency, I mean, if they're going to say, all right, this program is set to air at 12:30, and then they kind of make it 12:30-ish or 12:40 or 12:45 or whatever the case may be, I mean, it tends to be off-putting to somebody who is like, oh, such and such is on at this time, and they go to view it, and it's not on.
Right.
And if you have that on a consistent basis, that's going to anger your viewer base and thus lead to an increase in cancellations of subscriptions.
I guess, but I mean, like talking Smack, I think they should have a little bit more leeway because it's right after SmackDown, or at 9:45 out here, and if a certain thing happens, like the Shane McMahon thing happened with AJ Styles, make the show a little longer if a special thing happens, not go off the air at a certain time. I don't know. That's just my gripe.
I can see where you're coming from on that, but I mean, again, I'll go back to a football for an example, or a baseball. When a game goes into overtime or extra innings, I mean, you have that leeway to go over, and you don't kind of have what happened back in the late '60s with the Heidi game, where they just stopped the game and went to the movie on NBC. So I mean, they've realized that, but they know that at some point, since they have a schedule, they have to do something to get back to that schedule. So if they can reduce the number of opportunities from shaking away from that schedule, they're going to do that. And that's why maybe you'll see with certain pay-per-view events that they'll go a little bit longer, but when it comes to everything else, because they have to get back to that schedule, just as you would if it, I mean, it's WWE Network is no different, other than it being over the top, than NBC, CBS, ABC, when it comes to adhering to those schedules.
Got it.
And it'd be the same thing. I mean, if you, let's say 7 o'clock, I guess, at least I know that's that way here in Philly. Maybe it's that way everywhere else as well. But if you go to tune in and you're expecting to see Jeopardy at 7 o'clock or 7:30, depending on what order they do Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune in, and because of other things that kind of happened, it doesn't start until like 7:18. If you're looking forward to seeing that, you're going to be mad.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why they do that. I mean, they do have exceptions, but what you're asking for, it sounds like, is turning the exception into the rule.
Right. And
that would be chaotic.
With the guest host thing at WrestleMania. Like, they couldn't get a legend to host a WrestleMania. Like, why the New Day? My thought was, why not, they're based in Florida. Why is WWE really... The Sting thing really did not work at all, where they don't want him on TV at all, because I remember in the Hall of Fame that he was saying that, you'll see me around. Well, we haven't seen him once on WWE TV, and I was hoping that he'd be a guest spot somewhere, sometime.
Well, I mean, maybe they're looking for the right opportunity. I mean, it's hard to say what exactly they're going for. I mean, maybe you'll see him come, the Hall of Fame induction, because, I mean, there's certainly a lot of notable names that are kind of in his wheelhouse a little bit. I mean, we'll get into that here real quick. I mean, for those who didn't hear, the latest addition to the WWE Hall of Fame class, and in my opinion, longly overdue, is one ravishing Rick Rude, joining the ranks of Kurt Angle, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, and Robert Gibson, as well as Teddy Long, Diamond Dallas Page, and Beth Phoenix. This is shaping up to be a very good class.
I guess Ricky Steamboat's going to induct Rick Rude as well.
Yes, WWE did announce that Ricky Steamboat would deliver the induction speech, and I'm kind of curious, since Steamboat is inducting him, I guess it'll be family members that accept on Rude's behalf?
Well, yeah, I guess, because his son passed away not too long ago in a car accident, so it's not going to be his son.
It's a rough scenario.
Yeah, so, but my only thing with Sting was that, I would like to see him in some kind of storyline capacity. So, I know he can't wrestle anymore, and I'm okay with that now, but have him do something, like, I don't know, I guess, well, from what I heard, that they were talking about bringing maybe Kurt Angle as the general manager when Mick Foley goes away. Well, why can't that spot be reserved for Sting?
I don't know. I mean, do you want to see some sort of a dynamic on Monday nights between Sting and Stephanie McMahon?
Yeah, because he did it really good with Dixie Carter at times when he was in that role. That'd be kind of interesting, actually.
I can see how there's a little, but I mean, there's not really that much chemistry between the McMahons and Sting because Sting spent the majority of his career away from WWE. I mean,
I get that. I know.
He was in the NWA, WCW, TNA. I mean, he didn't cross paths with WWE until very recently, so there's not much of a history to build on, whereas with Mick Foley, I mean, that goes back 20 years at this point.
Exactly. I know. It's just wishful thinking on my part, the fanboy in me that, I like Sting a lot, obviously, and I'm just kind of bummed out that the whole thing didn't really work, because he got hurt.
Yep. Certainly right about that. Thank you, Jumpin' Jeff Farmer. Got to get that little drop in there every once in a while.
All right, man. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for the call, Dan. Appreciate it, as always. So we're going to get into this since it was talked about a little bit here. The talking smack from this past Tuesday. The Miz going off again, and, well, he definitely has people talking, and including Dan here who mentioned about the, listen to what Brian has, what everybody has to say on this here. So Renee Young, Daniel Bryan, The Miz, and Maurice, courtesy of Talking Smack from this past Tuesday.
Daniel, who has the authority to make matches on SmackDown Live?
Me and Shane McMahon.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So how does John Cena create this mixed tag match with him and Nikki and Carmella and James Ellsworth?
So he proposed it, and then we made it official.
No, he said, we're doing a match. And then that match happened, and we promoted it all week. It's amazing to me how John Cena can have this much effect to not only the higher-ups, but to the WWE audience. It amazes me. And now you're going to sit there and say, John Cena, he proposed it. He didn't propose it. He said, hey, we're going to have a match next week. And then he probably texts you and goes, hey, Daniel, by the way, I just created a match. Hope you don't mind. See you at dinner later.
He challenged them for a match, and they accepted it, and we signed the match.
He didn't. James Ellsworth did not accept it. He did not want that match.
Yeah, Carmella pushed him to do it.
He did not want the match at all. Either way, it doesn't really matter. The fact is, John Cena created the match, texted you after, said, hey, guess what? I did this. Don't worry about it, though, because, we'll see you at dinner later on. It just amazes me how John Cena can spin everyone and manipulate and deceive people, and people applaud him for it, and he gets patted on the back. Like let's talk about last week on SmackDown Live. He claimed that I steal my personality from people, I steal moves, I steal this, I steal that. I don't know who I am. But you can make that claim about anybody. Any superstar. I can do it about John Cena right now. When John Cena first came to WWE, he stole his personality from every white kid with a identity crisis in the 90s. He was a cross between Marky Mark and Vanilla Ice. But wait, there's more. The Attitude Adjustment used to be called the Death Valley Driver, but John Cena stole it from Tommy Dreamer. John Cena steal a move from someone? But wait, there's more. He stole his girlfriend from Dolph Ziggler. What? No, not our hero, John Cena. He wouldn't do that. But wait, there's more. He stole his last T-shirt design from a beer company. But you know what? We applaud Cena. We love Cena because John Cena is that good old guy. But the fact is, he takes shots at me. That match that he created with that mixed tag match, he did it because of me. You know it, and I know it. He is jealous of my relationship. He is jealous of all the talent that I possess. And you look at me, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, come on, Miz. It's John Cena. But that's the problem. Everyone just looks at John Cena in the backstage and in the audience and just go, it's John Cena. He can do what he wants. Like during the draft. I mean, John Cena probably called you up and said, listen, Daniel Bryan, I'm probably not going to be around for 6 months, but listen, I want you to draft me to SmackDown Live, and I don't want to be number one. Make me like around number 3, because number 1, I'd have to be there every day, but I'm not going to be there because I'm going to be the part-timer that I am. So don't worry about me, because I'm sick of it. I am so sick of it, Daniel, and you know it. You know.
Wait, what do I know? Because I know for sure he did not tell me to draft him at number 5.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay. He probably just told you, right?
No.
He probably said, listen, this is what's going to happen.
This is
what's going to happen now.
Do you know what I know?
John Cena wants this, and John Cena gets what he wants because I'm controlling egomaniac, and that's what I do.
Okay, I have
wait, just a second. Do you know what I know? When we put John Cena's name on a headline, more people come to the show. When I put Miz...
Because everyone believes in his crap. It's all crap. What John Cena says is crap. It's easy to sit there and say, never give up when when you first come to WWE and The Undertaker shakes your hand and you got Kurt Angle going up against him saying, this kid's a good hand, this kid's going to be pretty good, he's going to be pretty solid. But imagine coming to WWE and everyone telling you that you're no good, that in 3 months you're going to be gone.
Clearly, you don't know.
It's easy to say you never get up. When you have adversity, when people are telling you and putting you down, pushing you down, it's not easy to give up. But I didn't give up, did I?
Clearly, you don't know the whole John Cena story, do you?
Oh, I know, of course. But I bet you're going to enlighten us with John Cena that he is the prototypical of what every WWE superstar wants. He talks, he's got the look, he's got the moves, he's got the kids, he's got everything.
Nope. I will tell you this, that John Cena was this close to getting fired within a couple months of him debuting on WWE.
How do you know that? You weren't even here. What, because he told you that? Because he manipulated your mind while you're at the dinner table and you're sitting there going,
listen, you need to sign a contract to be my friend, Daniel. I need to be around you because I need more people like you, because if I'm around you, people like you and people will like me. I need Nikki to sign this to be my girlfriend because you are a woman, and as a woman...
Wait, just a second. You say all that. You say all that. But never once have you been this close to getting fired because you're a patsy for this company.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You're a patsy for this company.
Are you kidding me?
You just tote the WWE line. Everything that you say bad about John Cena, about him toting the company line or being this or whatever that, you are nothing but a WWE shill. Everything that you go out there and do. All the media that you do, everything else that you do, nothing but a WWE shill.
I was a huge star before I even came to WWE, and if I wasn't in WWE, I could go do something else.
Like
the
what?
fact is, I love being here. I could be an actor if I wanted. I could be a host,
made
but
to
I love
DVD
being
movies?
In the WWE. Absolutely, I could
How
go
many
do movies.
movies have you done?
I don't do
So
movies
you
because
make
I don't
fun
want
of
to be an
him for-
actor.
Oh
You want
my!
to be a wrestler, but you can't because of your head. It's okay. It's
Okay,
all right.
can we bring?
Fine.
You
I can't
said,
or they won't let me.
You
we'll
said
see in a year and
earlier-
a half and see what happens.
Miz, you said earlier that you think John Cena is jealous of your relationship. Why do you think he's jealous of your guys' relationship?
Do you watch anything he does, like the promos that they do for Total Bellas or Total Divas?
Yeah, of course.
Nikki, I love you. Wait, was that correct? Did that sound good? Wait, let's take one more take. Nikki, I love you. Wait, nope, let's do the third take. All right, thank you. Nikki, I love you. And then that's the one we're all going to take because that's what we want to do. We want to make John Cena look really good on Total Divas.
It's so robotic. But you look at us.
I think they're fraud. I personally think that both of them are a fraud. They're plastic. There's nothing real about them. Everything they do is to elevate their brand. It's all about that. It's all about, am I going to look good? I personally think that he's with her because he needs to make himself look good.
And having a relationship does exactly that. And why is she with him? Let me ask you a question, Maurice. When you were Divas champion, the longest reigning Divas champion, what was Nikki Bella doing?
Well, nothing. She was a celebrity wrangler. She used to walk down the ramp with celebrity guests.
Yep.
Make sure they feel comfortable backstage, if you know what I mean. Bring them a coffee. And then.
And then she starts dating John Cena.
Yes.
What happens?
Then, she becomes the longest WWE Divas champion in history. And then she gets on Total Divas. She gets 6 seasons.
They get their own YouTube show.
You're going to tell me that people want to see her that bad. And then she gets her own show. She gets Total Bellas, which she's executive producer. She's never produced a thing in her life.
Provides purses, shoes, money,
Are
power.
you jealous of
anything
Nikki
you
Bella?
want. Here,
Absolutely
opportunity.
not. Nikki Bella is jealous of me because I have this, which she'll never have.
That's a hell of a ring. That is a hell of a ring. Any other brain busters for us, Renee? Dan?
Nope,
Anything?
that'll do it. Thank you guys
very
both
much.
so much.
Appreciate
It's
it.
always a
Thanks,
pleasure to have you
everyone.
on here.
Tune in next week for a Talking Smack. It won't be as good as this because we won't be on it. See ya.
Oh, there you have it. The Miz and Maurice just shots fired, essentially. What can I say? Just going after Cena, going after Nikki Bella, going after Daniel Bryan. Just laying everybody to waste, pretty much, and a lot of different content in there, to say the least. Accusations of thievery, which, I mean, he's right. There is a lot of borrowing and next generation handing down and things. I mean, the Miz was given the figure 4 from Ric Flair, and that didn't quite exactly work out so well, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, it is that time. Oh, you know what time it is. Talk about my friends over at the Broken Goblet Brewery at 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA, where they're bringing you fun food and entertainment. Back on tap is the B-Gob's Old Toby. It's a Belgian pale ale brewed with basil. Its beer pairs greatly with Italian dishes. Or you can try the Goblet's signature beer, Steinbeiser's Buried Treasure, an easy drinking cream ale where pints are just $3 any time. And I believe while it's still on, you can also get their latest version of Bubba's Tea Bag, which was decided about a month ago in the Tea-Cision. And that'll be part of the rotation for the rest of the year as well. Plus, tonight, in terms of entertainment, it's the DVT Original Music Night with Stephen Giller and Adventure Lost. And don't forget, tomorrow from 11 to 5, Bloodies and Chill, where you can get the Goblet's Broken Bloody Mary. And, oh, man, it is delicious. And I'm not even a fan of tomato juice. What does that tell you? It's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly. Coming back, we'll talk about Fastlane a little bit here. Also get into more of the news and notes, also some birthdays, and today in wrestling history and a lot of other fun stuff. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Hello, this is Vince Sirianni from GMH Mortgage and your host to Opening Doors to Real Estate and Finance. Inviting you to join me and my co-host, Gary Castle, broker-owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Keystone Properties. Every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. here on 1490 WBCB. And also Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 610 Sports Radio. Opening Doors to Real Estate and Finance, helping you acquire your dream home.
Everything you wanted to know about funerals and planning but did not know who to ask. Tune in Mondays at 9 a.m. to everything you wanted to know about funerals and planning, being brought to you by Louis A. Galzerano III Funeral Home. Call 215-945-8484.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, March 11. On this date in 1996, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. In the main event, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and the Booty Man defeated Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, and Kevin Sullivan in a lumberjack strap match. On this date in 2002, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from Detroit, Michigan. In the main event, Hollywood Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash defeated Steve Austin and The Rock in a handicap tag team match. On this date in 2007, TNA held its Destination X pay-per-view. In the main event, Christian pinned Samoa Joe to retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2003, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Indianapolis, Indiana. In the main event, Kane pinned CM Punk in a no disqualification match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, March 11. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo today and talking all kinds of fun stuff here, including, hold on to your hats for a moment here. We'll get into the Rebby Hardy stuff just a moment here. But if you missed out on seeing Jim Ross's one-man show or aren't able to see it when one of the Big Four pay-per-views are around due to travel, finance, or otherwise, well, you're in luck. The Jim Ross one-man show available on pay-per-view on FITE TV, F-I-T-E TV. The show features appearances by Rob Van Dam, Jeff Jarrett, Karen Jarrett, and Jim Cornette. It's available for $5.99. It'll be around for a little less than a month from now, just beyond WrestleMania weekend, roughly 30 days from its release this past Wednesday, and features the best of his 3 shows from the House of Blues in Dallas, Texas, from WrestleMania weekend last year. Also, Cody Rhodes, a.k.a. Cody Reynolds, will once again play the role of Derek Sampson on the Arrow television series. IGN.com reporting that the new episode will air late this season in April or May. Rhodes and Arrow star Stephen Amell, of course, having that feud that culminated in a SummerSlam tag team match back in 2015, also including Wade Barrett, or back then King Barrett, and Neville. Well, here we go. Let's get into this here, because this is all developed over the course of the last 24 hours, and it's a lot of Hardy's talk here, but Rebby Hardy taking to Twitter to bury Impact Wrestling Management over the course of the past 24 hours. It's a rant and then some. And, let me get the button ready to go on this one here. So this is all just in a series of tweets, just back to back to back to back here. LMAO, you guys, referring to Anthem executive Ed Nordholm, Jeff Jarrett, and Impact Wrestling. More than happy to play this game. Can we just talk about how many times Matt's contract could have been broken due to numerous issues on TNA's end and never made a fuss about, but MFers want to try and come at us now after the fact? Don't you have an owl to promote or some, or I don't know, a company to make great? Instead of acting like the petty little you are. Speaking of petty, nice video package on TNA's history with no visual or mention of Jeff, who gave his all for 7 years, or Kurt, referring to Kurt Angle. But y'all made sure to get those 2 video ID shoots of Jeff Jarrett in there, LMAO. But it's just business, brother, right? Petty. Everything these boys have done for the company, and you want to try and us for the sake of it. Literally no other reason except you mad, LOL. How about my husband leaving me a day after giving birth to make your TV tapings? That's how dedicated this MFer was to the company. How about the 3 highest-rated TV segments of 2016 were financed by Hardy's solely to help the product, and because they believed in TNA, or all the talking by JJ, referring to Jeff Jarrett, throughout contract negotiations, and Matt was still there, professional and trying to make things work for 2017. Oh, and this is the best part. These MFers trying to come after Senor Benjamin. LMAO, I can't. Senor Benjamin, my dad, by the way, who was never paid a dime by the company and who was obviously never under contract, not that those contract things mean anything to TNA, until after they're over or until 3 days before they expire, apparently. Funny thing is, everyone who ever actually had anything to do with Broken Matt Hardy has our back on this. What does that say to you? Damn near 20% of your roster leaving in the span of a week, all citing the same reasons or none at all. What does that tell you? And then a fake-ass wishing you well tweet from Ed Nordholm mere hours before threatening to sue us. Such a fitting end, man. Seriously, you couldn't write this. Well, TNA couldn't write this. Any writer is worth a left too. Real cute how TNA can go radio silent for weeks, with the exception of nonsensical drunk texts from JJ, but we get a 2-hour deadline to respond. Is this Taken? Referring to the movie Taken. LOL, I can't. Good luck explaining to your talent that their paychecks are late again because you're spending all your money suing the Hardys. And that owl. If you're wondering what we're going to do next, watch ROH. That was all about 20 hours ago. And then about 3 hours ago, actually, as I was putting some final prep on the show, she was back at it with some photoshopped images of the Impact logo and the hashtag that owl. She continues, there's so much more I want to say, but will refrain out of respect for people who don't want their personal biz out in this mess. For now. What I don't understand is why a company already fighting an uphill battle would make their own warpath even steeper. Trust, I haven't had one person affected by this respond with, hey, maybe you should chill. I'm not the only one who feels this way. Only difference is I have nothing to lose by putting it all out there. And the boys? Yeah, they good. Bet. They're going to be just fine. But don't come for hard-working, loyal dudes who have done nothing but right by you in and throughout Shady Biz and expect silence. Because I don't GAF. Yeah, give a you-know-what. Everyone else out there can call it what they want, but I go hard for my family and what I believe is right, and even harder when something is wrong. And these MFers are dead wrong for this. Not about the money, not about the gimmick. It's the principle. Whew. Yeah, a lot of stuff in there, to say the least, here with Rebby Hardy. But things looking to be moving on for both Matt and Jeff as they're now in Ring of Honor. And something tells me they won't be coming back soon, if ever, to TNA, especially after that there. Well, let's go back to the phones here where we've got Rich from Lower Bucks County. Rich, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Yeah, hello, Fearon. How you doing today?
I'm hanging in there.
That's cool. Well, I did have this thought for you, and if you had a chance recently to catch up with Body Slams and Beyond, the production by Gary Michael, have you heard about that?
I've heard about it, but I haven't had a chance to read it.
You're going to have to talk to your Monster Factory people. They were present in his Philadelphia debut with that show. I think it's very enlightening what he was doing. So if you can check in with those people from Monster Factory, you'll get a very good insight. Plus, you can read about it, too. He's still on tour till the end of April.
Certainly should be interesting.
Yeah, it was very enlightening presentation that lasted 2 hours, and that doesn't count how long he did the question and private answer session afterwards, too. So it was a very good production, and I know you had some matters with yourself that prevented you from going. I know that.
Very astute observation on your part. Thank you so much for the call, Rich. And yeah, well, I would say it's good to hear from you, but yeah, people, what can I say here? Anyway, let's get back to the news here and what else is going on here on the show. Over the course of what has gone on over the course of the past week, former WWE, WCW, and TNA creative member Vince Russo stating in his latest podcast that TNA Impact Wrestling executive Jeff Jarrett recently reached out to him, saying, quote, "I got an email from Jeff Jarrett about a week ago," and Russo stating that Jarrett asked him to share the type of podcast numbers that he does on Podcast One. Russo said he gave Jarrett realistic numbers. He said, followed up with the next thing that he knew, he read that Bruce Pritchard was going to Orlando to work for TNA based on his widely popular podcast. After praising Pritchard's podcast and storytelling ability, Russo said he was bothered that despite his own history with Jarrett, the company opted to bring in Pritchard. He added, "This is why I hate the wrestling business. We all use each other to our advantage." Russo said he had no intention of going on the air and shilling for something he doesn't believe in. Interesting. In other TNA news, Spike TV spokesman David Schwartz told Brian Fritz at BetweenTheRopes.com that the network is not negotiating a television deal with TNA Impact Wrestling despite a report to the contrary. It certainly didn't come from here. Schwartz stating, quote, "Spike TV officials confirmed that Spike TV executive Scott Fishman was there for personal reasons and is not negotiating any deals." End quote. TNA's current television deal with Pop TV reportedly is through the end of 2017. And WWE Hall of Famer Jerry Lawler launched a new podcast with co-host Glenn Moore called Dinner with the King. During the first show, Lawler revealed that he will be calling a WrestleMania match and appearing on the WrestleMania pre-show, and he also discussed his new WWE contract. And a little bit of news out of the Ring of Honor 15th anniversary pay-per-view from last night. TK O'Ryan, who I've had the chance to work with on an occasion or two down at the MFPW, he revealed on Twitter that he needed to have his legs set on Friday night and will probably need surgery as a result of the injury that he suffered at the pay-per-view. Orion, Matt Taven, and Vinny Marseglia hold the Ring of Honor six-man tag titles. Now, Orion suffered the injury when he performed an Acai moonsault, and both of his legs came down on top of the ringside barricade. He noted that he had to get his legs set and will, quote, probably need surgery. Oof. And, of course, how can I forget? Action returns next Saturday to the MFPW Arena. Speaking of them, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey, starting at 2 with the screening of The Wrestler, a QT Marshall story. And then at 7, Marshall set to be in action, possibly with his heavyweight championship on the line. Plus the MFPW Tag Team Champions. You heard Ed from Northeast Philly mention Falaba along with Mario Boca. They'll be defending the titles fresh off of their debut for Impact Wrestling down in Orlando. All that and more, it's all 1 week from tonight at the MFPW Arena, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. The screening starts at 2, and then for those, if you buy a ticket to one, you can go to the other, but otherwise, I guess the doors would open at 6, and the action itself starts at 7. Tickets are available now at eventbrite.com, and check out the MFPW and all things Monster Factory on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, plus at monsterfactory.org, and check out past matches, bios, bloopers, and more at the mfnetwork.com. And don't forget Factory Fridays, the 18 and up alternative to the MFPW, returning 1 week from this Friday. It'll be on March 24th, and the events of last night's Factory Friday, I presume to be the reason why Lucas isn't here, as he is recovering from the beating that he had in his match against Royal Money, one half of Paid in Full. Certainly interesting. And a quick look, fast lane from this past week in terms of predictions certain to go wrong. Since he wasn't here, I outfought myself in the main event, and that was the only blemish, as I went 7 for 8, predicting every match correctly except for that main event, where Goldberg is the new Universal Champion at age 50 and will be defending against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania coming up on April 2nd. How about that? Yeah, an odd, not as bad as the WCW days, but I mean the combined ages of the two. Goodness, quick math here. I want to say about 87 between the two of them. Yeah, we used to do that back with WCW's main events in the mid '90s, because you had the 40-somethings of at the time of Hogan and Savage and others. And Ric Flair being another as well. But that notwithstanding, those who missed the pay-per-view, in the pre-show, Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa defeating the Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar. Samoa Joe beating Sami Zayn in the opening match to the main pay-per-view. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson retaining the Raw Tag titles over Enzo and Big Cass. Sasha Banks pinning Nia Jax. A lot of people considered that an upset, and that was one of the blemishes on Lucas's part. He went 4-4 for the pay-per-view. A couple of bonus unadvertised matches: Cesaro beating Jinder Mahal and Big Show pinning Rusev. That team's pretty much broken up of Jinder Mahal and Rusev. Neville retaining the Cruiserweight Championship, defeating Jack Gallagher. Roman Reigns pinning Braun Strowman. That one I got, and Lucas not so much. And Bayley retaining the Raw Women's Championship over Charlotte. Lucas thought Charlotte was going to maintain her undefeated pay-per-view record, but that was not the case. And Goldberg winning in just 22 seconds thanks to the distraction by Chris Jericho and defeating Kevin Owens to win the Universal Championship. For the year, I've got a nice 15-8 record. Lucas just over 500 at 12-11, sitting 3 matches back after we were tied heading into it. So we got about 3 minutes left, and that means it's time for birthdays. Yeah, exactly. He's not here. The hell with him. No. Teddy Faw in the background there. On this date in 1966, Robert Edward Brooks was born. The British wrestler turned NXT coach, better known as Robbie Brookside, turns 51 today. On this date in 1967, Gary Wolfe was born. The former ECW Tag Team Champion and Television Champion, and former in-studio guest here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, better known as Pitbull 1 of the tag team The Pitbulls, turns 50 today. Yeah, man, how about that? On this date in 1971, got to get the celebrities in there as well, Philip John Clapp Jr. was born. Yeah, that name doesn't sound familiar, does it, Ted? The actor, comedian, and stunt performer who guest starred on Monday Night Raw back in October of 2010 and previously got beat up on Raw in 2008 by Beth Phoenix, Hornswoggle, the Boogeyman, and the Great Khali, but is better known as the co-creator and star of the reality stunt show and film trilogy MTV's Jackass, better known as Johnny Knoxville, turns 46 today. And on this date in 1988, Katsuhiko Nakajima was born. I had to practice that before getting on the air here. The current GHC heavyweight champion in the Pro Wrestling Noah promotion in Japan and former star in All Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Michinoku Pro Wrestling, among others, turns 29 today. So there we go. For all the internet smart marks, you don't talk enough about Japan. There you go. I gave you your little nugget. How about that? And finally, the Brucey bonus. On this date in 1950, Robert Keith McFerrin Jr. was born. You're probably thinking, who's that? Well, the 10-time Grammy Award vocalist and conductor, best known for his 1988 hit Don't Worry, Be Happy, the only a cappella song to go #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the history of the charts, and of course known professionally as Bobby McFerrin, turns 67 today. That's right. Everything you hear, all a cappella, all mouth sounds, no drums, no musical instruments, just all a cappella. So there we go. A nice happy way to end the show, literally and figuratively. There you go. Oh, yes, I am happy because Country Roads is coming up. Exactly. Thank you, Ted Efaw, for the brilliant segue that I was unable to put on here. Yeah, so Ted Efaw coming up next with the Country Roads. He's got you from 1 until 6 o'clock. And until next week, when I'm not sure if we're here or down there at the MFPW, we'll find out over the course of the week. Play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock in all's well.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBCB.